Okay, I'm going to show you how to set up 2 at a time socks, how to set up the long looms that are put out by Cindy Wood for 2 at a time socks. Okay, and as you can see, I'm using their small universal sock loom for 2 socks at a time. So these are actually great for baby to toddler size socks. I'm actually making a pair of socks for my 5-year-old. So you do the math and everything, and so you'll need to know how to set it up, and then I'll show you how to work it. Okay, so you can use the smaller looms if you're doing like little baby socks or toddler socks or something. You just calculate it out and it'll work up. Okay, I'm using 34 pegs for each sock here. Okay, so this is the new universal hat loom in the 1/4 inch gauge, and this is the one that's the 90 peg and the 3/8 inch gauge. Okay, and I kind of already have them set up. All right, so let me explain how this works. These line up exactly like they should, I'm pretty sure. Okay, the 3/8 might not, but we'll see. Okay. Alright, so what you want to do when you're calculating is you want to, and I usually do 2 at a time. So whatever my wedge is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, and then 41. Okay. So you have 40 here, and what you'll find is you want to set it up so that the ridges are facing each other. So the ridges are facing the inside and this one's facing, so they're mirroring each other, excuse me, get my southern accent out of there. They're mirroring each other. I'll see if it'll focus. You'll see the ridge there. Okay. And what that is, you want the ridges facing each other, and you calculate out however many pegs you want, and you put your wedge in, and you put your wedge in, and this will accommodate, I believe, 46 pegs, I think, for 2 on the 3/8 inch 90. It will support 46, I believe. Okay, on this one it will port 64. Alright, 64. And again, I actually don't have these set up properly, so I'll kind of show you how to do that. I haven't used this one yet because I'm now just fixing to get to making a whole batch of socks. But you take the wedge off because you want the ridges to face each other. You set them up to face each other and just get them generally locked in, and then you do your calculation. So I think for me personally, to make socks, I need 50 pegs in the 1/4 inch gauge according to my calculation. Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm going to do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, but because we have 2 for the wedge, we go back 1. So it's actually already set up. I'm just going to move it a little bit like that. Okay. There. So now I have this sock set up. And then we want to get this one over here set up. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, and 50 for the wedge. Okay, and you line that up. So keep in mind, your ridges should be facing each other, alright? Now, that is how you set up the loom itself in order to go in and start working it. And you do it with any loom that you're working with. Okay, you can do it with this one. And I think this was one of the earlier ones before they really started lining them up seriously on the end. But I work around it. And then this is the newest one they've put out, and I haven't had a chance to work on it yet. But because I'm fixing to start doing full socks for the sock book I'm working on, then you're going to see how that works. And I've done 2 at a time before. I did it for sleeves, and I had intended a while back to eventually do socks on it, and I just haven't gotten around to it. But I will show you how this works, okay, and once you have it set up. Now I'm doing the modular toe, which I just posted that video, and I'm doing a rib stitch at the arch. Okay, and I'm having to kind of do a little funky rib stitch at the end. So what I do is I start on one side and work my way around, and then I do the little end ones together, and then I go on the other side and I work my way around as reading, okay? And what this does is it keeps you up where you're even, no matter what. You ain't got one sock that's going to be a little bigger than the other, okay? So what I'm doing is you generally want to choose like this peg and this peg to be like your starting, and then kind of or work around where your first peg will be. It can be over here too as your first peg. So you decide where your first peg is. It's going to be in the same lineup so that you don't get confused to work your way around, okay? And then you just do the heel. And I know that some of y'all tend to do the heel kind of oblong kind of thing, but I generally just choose one half of the long side or the other, so that I'm not having to turn the loom so much, and it actually works up faster that way. So you start and you go down and you do this side, and I'll just kind of angle it in and go ahead and do the knit on those. And then you pick up this side and you start going down this side. And you may have a little bit more trouble trying to keep up with what's what when you start doing rib stitches and stitch patterning. And you can. You don't have to limit yourself. But this is generally how I go about doing it. Is starting to do it like I'm reading. One side to the other. Okay. And trust me, this works up faster. You've got 2 socks you're working on at once, okay? So you don't have that one sock syndrome thing going, which is, you know, it's a problem. Okay, now I'm starting on the other side and just working my way over. Okay, pick this up the other side and start working its way over. And because it doesn't work out quite evenly, I usually just do like 1 purl and 1 knit, and then I do 1 knit and 1 purl. Okay. And that is 1 round on 2 socks. Alright, so that's how you get 1 round on 2 socks, and you just work it up. And what I tend to work is divide my loom in half like this way on both sides, and I work my heels like that. And that's how I generally prefer to do it. But it actually works fast. And then what I like to do is when I get to a heel, I work a complete heel here, and then I work a complete heel here, and then I go about doing my rounds all around. So that's how I generally do it when I go to do a full sock 2 at a time. So it's like I did this toe first completely, and then I did this toe first completely, and then I started doing my rounds. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to do one heel completely here, the other heel completely here, and then I'll start going and doing my rounds like I've been doing here. And that's generally how you go about making 2 at a time socks, and it's actually not too bad. And if you keep up with your yarn as you go, it's not hard to adjust it so that it's not tangled, okay? And I don't find that it gets tangled that bad. I really don't, if I keep it all nice and organized and neat and that kind of thing. So I don't generally find that it's a problem. But that is how you set the limbs up, and that is how you do 2 at a time. And keep in mind, on your small universal sock limbs, yes, you can make an adult sock with it 1 at a time, or you can do baby to toddler socks 2 at a time on them. Okay, and then they have the universal hat looms. Okay, so you have the 3/8 inch gauge 90 and the 134th inch gauge, and they're now officially selling 2 wedges because of the 2 at a time thing, because I had requested 2 when they were going to send me mine for starting 2 at a time. But I've been real slow to get on my full on making socks because I've just finished my study on doing videos for teals and toes, so now it's time to start doing full socks. So that's going to make it a lot easier and faster to go in and start making socks when I can do 2 at a time. And so that is how you set up and do 2 at a time socks.